it's time that we show the world what we can do just because we're girls. Studio girls. Studio girls. Studio girls. I'm just a girl.
Welcome to the Studio Girls Podcast, where we infuse you with love.
I'm Brooklyn.
And I'm Jazzy P.
There's a lot to unpack.
We're going to get right into it.
So, first of all,
Let's tell the people
how we met and how this all came to be, where we're sitting on this couch today at 1:20 a.m. ready to talk about what it's like to be a woman.
Yes.
So, I guess how we first met was just like through music circles. We met at the So Far show for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And then we became friends.
Actually, I came to your release party.
Oh, yeah. That was the first time
Z.
we met.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first time we met. I think it was just like passing though.
Yeah. It was like we were quickly introduced to each other, but I was
like,
meeting
hi, bye.
so many people that night.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a release party for my song. So that's where we first met. Then So Far show. And we were both separately like, one day we're going to be friends.
Yeah. I remember hitting you up on Instagram like, if you ever want to hang out, I'm around. Like, hi. And then I saw you when I was thrifting, or I was styling somebody.
Mm.
And I saw you at Common Collective, I think.
Really?
Yeah. And I was like, hey. And then I had a show.
Yes.
And then we had seen each other again like a week later or something.
Yeah. Then we
But
basically...
music.
It was just both being in similar music circles. We kind of bonded at this event Off the Cuff, which is like a every Wednesday night thing where it's just like jazz music and...
I was so stunned when I learned about Off the Cuff.
Yeah.
Just the idea of like all of the like different musicians coming up and playing their instruments at different times.
Just freestyling together.
I loved it.
It's so fucking lit. Literally my favorite thing to ever happen in Colorado. Shout out Name Backwards for making that a thing. Literally so sick. So yeah, we kind of bonded over that. We started going every week and being like, are you gonna be there?
Yeah, like, can I see you there? I'm not going unless you'll be there. There was one night I was like, Brooklyn. She said, I'm getting out of bed, I'm on my way.
I was like all ready to go to sleep. I was like, let me get my ass up. So yeah, basically we became friends just from that type of stuff. And then we were hanging out one day. We kind of got closer, started hanging out outside of Off the Cuff. And then we were hanging out and Jazzy's friend Fritz was like, I'm going to pick you up. We're going to go to Bob Marley, the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I got invited. I was like, sick, let's go to Bob Marley.
Yeah.
And then...
And you love Bob Marley, right?
I literally love Bob Marley.
Yeah.
Like, that's like one of my favorite people to ever exist. So yeah, I was like, hell yeah, I want to go to Bob Marley. And then he was like playing some really cool like pop kind of beats in the car, which I'm really not used to like writing to those kind of beats, but I was like, I'm inspired right now. So we kind of came up with this idea.
We freestyled all the way to the movie, and Fritz and I were supposed to go to the studio after, and so I was like, all right, let's go.
Yeah, neither of us wanted to go, but then
After the movie, we both were emotional. We were crying in the front seat.
Yeah.
And then we just like subconsciously ended up at the studio and wrote a song that both of us, I think, were really proud of.
Yeah.
And it was really like very naturally like reminded me of why I started writing music in the first place, is because sometimes it just like flows out of you and you just like unlock levels of your creativity.
Yes. And it's like, it wasn't serious. It was so much fun. And then we ended up creating like literally an anthem for the fucking women. Like, just out of like having a good old fucking time. You
just
know what
girls
I'm saying?
being girls.
Just girls being girls.
Yeah.
It was so fucking fun. So yeah, we pretty much came up with that song, and then I forget how the idea came up to start a podcast, but it was basically like, you wanted to start a podcast, I wanted to start a podcast, and we were like, what if we just do a podcast called Studio Girls? I think you said that.
Yeah.
And
just use that song as our theme song.
Exactly. Because it was giving theme song.
It was. It is.
Yeah.
And y'all will hear that in due time. We got plans for that.
You probably heard a little intro clip of it, but the full song will be out with a music video at some point.
So what do you do? What do you do just like in your own realm of creativity?
I do a lot of things. I used to want to make my bio on Instagram, I do a lot of things, but I'm pretty sure actually my ex-girlfriend, that was her bio, and I think I was like, oh, I can't like steal that.
Yeah.
But anyways.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. But anyways,
I got the 4 from my ex-boyfriend, so.
Oh, perfect.
You can be inspired by exes, but I've decided that it's called an expiration. I made a TikTok about that once. It's pretty good.
That is
still getting 200 views, but it's cool.
It's fine. Just 200 view Jill. I saw this video and somebody was like, "Quit calling it 200 view Jill and quit calling it shadow ban. Your content just sucks. Nobody wants to watch it." And I was like, oh.
She's bullying me.
Literally, I was like, wow, that felt a little targeted.
Right.
But no, I feel like, okay, so what I do, I feel like my main thing is music. Like, I've been passionate about singing and, like, been loving singing ever since I was a little girl. My dad was like, the music industry is evil, and my daughter will have no part in it. And I was like, I'll just change it then, Dad.
Keep going.
And so I felt like I always just, like, wanted to, like, basically reform shit. Like, I always just wanted to, like, shake shit up, do my own thing. Like, I want to, like, make a safe space for women in the music industry, like, outside of the current systems that exist. And I want to do that in different avenues of life. I'm really passionate about environmental science. That's what I'm going to school for. I really love the earth. I really want to create access to good quality food. I want to get into throwing events, which, stay tuned. And I also really love making videos on YouTube. So I need to get back into my YouTube swing. Still haven't done that, but I got an email from YouTube the other day. They were like, your subscribers miss you. I was like, so
imagine if Instagram did that.
Oh my god.
Your followers are waiting for a post.
Your followers are waiting.
I'd be like, story time. Hey guys, how are you doing? Peace and blessing.
It literally inspired me. So yeah, I am passionate about those things and just many things. I'm just a passionate person in general. I'm like, I love life. But sometimes I hate life, but also sometimes I love life, but also anyways, so
I think that's human. I think that's just being human. I love what you said about the reform thing, because, like, I think for a long time I've always told myself I want to learn the rules to break the rules.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I feel that.
Yes.
Personally, I also do music.
Mm-hmm.
Is it my turn?
Yes.
I'm working on listening.
So, Jessie, what do you do?
Well, I sing. She's great singer, guys. I really like to throw events because I just really like to bring people together, and in the light of, like, giving creators a platform, whether they're designers or film or musicians or artists. I was gonna say music, but
whatever music,
whatever, you know. Just in general, like, I think the idea of giving people a place to show off all of the things that, like, make being a human easier, I think is kind of, like, my goal. I own a business called Tuesday, and that has introduced me to just so many different creators, especially in Denver, and I just love to move chess pieces around and, like, be in charge of things and direct, and I like to make videos too, but my videos are definitely like the art of noticing. I don't really love to be in videos, unless they're like candid and somebody is like, you know. But I'm working on that. I want to, do a music video and stuff. Never done that before, so that'll be a fun journey to embark on. But
oh, it's gonna be so fucking fun.
it's gonna be so fucking fun. So yeah. That's
Love
me.
that. Yeah, I like how you said, just like making things easier for other people. I think that's a really beautiful passion to have. Creating ease for others, like learning the ropes so that you can like make it easier for other creatives. That's it's a really cool thing. And that's also like a big part of what this podcast is going to be about. So.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Together, we pretty much are working on this podcast. We're going to be working on throwing events, like we said. And really the main goal is just empowering women, creating safe spaces for women, empowering women, especially creative women, and just like sharing the knowledge that we have. We're not experts by any means on like all of the things, but both of us being in the creative industry for a few years now, we've picked up on some things. So for like the girlies who are getting into it or who are already along that journey, just kind of like sharing tips and
just like need someone to relate with.
Yeah.
Because we get it. Like we're out here too. We're hustling. We're trying. We're working our part-time jobs while also doing music.
And doing music in a industry that's heavily male dominated and trying to navigate that.
Yeah.
So it's really like a podcast for the girlies. Like the men are welcome too, but the girlies and the gays, it's really we're really here for everybody, but
a goal of mine is still to have men bopping to Studio Girls and just
totally
out here just jamming.
Like, we just want the men who are supportive of the women,
right?
And the women who support.
Yeah, I think in general the idea is just to learn with you all. Exactly. Real time, and you guys can watch our journey as we're learning in this process too of craziness of being a woman and so
I'll talk about it in the comments.
Yeah, talk about it in the comments. That's the whole episode today actually is, so as we all know, it is Women's Month.
Yes.
The month of women.
The month of women.
And so
boy is there much to celebrate.
There's so much to celebrate. And so we just want to talk about what does it mean to be a woman?
Yeah.
What is a woman?
Which is a question that we can't fully answer today, but we have thought of we've been thinking about this kind of all week, like, what does it really mean to be a woman to us specifically? And, thinking about the past of what women have gone through and what women have endured and paved the way for us to be able to live the way that we do now. By no means is everything perfect. We still are dealing with a lot of repercussions of a patriarchal society, but just like honoring the women that came before us is a big thing that we wanted to highlight as well. And how women in general have just overcome different obstacles and the ways that they've done that. And not to mention, like, in the entertainment industry as well, even the way women are viewed and treated in all aspects, in music and in acting. I mean, there's so many examples from so many different places. So that's kind of the main topic for sure. So what do you think would be so you said the patriarchy. Okay, so tell me about the matriarchy. Okay, so I really love looking into like ancient Egypt because it's one of the first like societies to be built after the Great Settling, if you will, where humans went from being hunter-gatherer societies that like moved around Earth to actually settling and like creating structures and agriculture. And some of the first leaders of Egyptian societies were women. So I think that that's really cool, and we have yet to like really see something like that since so long ago. It was so long ago that like there's not a whole lot of information on it, but we know that societies were often led by women. And I think that I personally believe that women are very well suited to be leaders, you know? I think that there needs to be a major reform in what do we define as a leader? What's a leader? What's leadership qualities? I think we kind of, like most things in today's society, we have things a little bit twisted. We have things like actually twisted right on their head. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I think leadership is one of those things. Like, we think of a leader as like the loudest person in the room, the person who grabs everybody's attention, who like overpowers people, and like that kind of power relies, like, as my good friend Yana would say, relies on the powerlessness of others. So being a woman who's a leader is being powerful in a way that doesn't rely on the powerlessness of others. And why I think women are so well suited to be leaders is because we are intuitive, we are empathetic, we are nurturing, we are caring, we can like really take into account people's feelings and notice that, like, say we have a group, like everybody has something to contribute. Like, a woman will notice everything that everybody has that's a gift, and how they're well suited to contribute to the betterment of the group as a whole. Whereas, like, often the traditional leaders that we have today, it's all about them and glorifying them. And I don't think personally that is a good leader. So I'm not saying it has to do just with men or women, but I think the idea that like women are more well suited to be like in the background, not making decisions, I don't think that's true. I believe in the matriarchy because I feel like we are so well suited to lead people in a way that accounts for everybody. I just think about like from ancient Egypt till now, what women have endured under the leadership of men. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And like, this is gonna sound all hooba-jooba, but I had a dream one time about, I think she was my ancestor, like, and it was like way back in time, like I could tell I was like really in the past, and she was telling me like, girl, I've always been passionate and I've always had something to say, and like every version of you has, and like you get to actually say it now, so don't take that for granted. Right. Like, don't take for granted the fact that you can speak without being stoned.
Right. You know? And it's crazy too, because when you really think about history with women, what they wear, how they speak around other people that aren't their husbands, the way that everyone is meant to be a mother. You're born to be a mother. Yeah. Like, that's it, period. And now it has progressed quite a bit, and that does come up in the Barbie movie. I wanted to mention the Barbie movie too, because that movie was the highest grossing movie, period. And with that, even at the very beginning of the movie, it talks about, or it's the little girls playing with baby dolls, because they're glorifying how women or little girls their only option is to be a mother. So then this new Barbie or this new doll comes along and like changes their whole point of view. And I was doing research on this, and it really just stunned me, because I have personal beef with the idea of like women are meant to be mothers, and that's that, period. Because I think that I've seen a lot of women that are not meant to be mothers. And you and I experienced this a couple weeks ago when we were at the office or wherever we were. I don't remember where we were, but it was like a woman just like hitting her baby. Hitting her baby. It's like, what are you doing? Like, it's okay. So to me, I think that's just the main thing that stood out personally.
Because we're so much more than just a mother. And I think we have on here to mention the male gaze, like everything that you talked about how we dress, and how we were meant to be mothers, and how we were meant to speak, and how we were meant to act, and what we were meant to do, what our purpose was,
our
cleaning, jobs, all of that was decided by men. What a woman was meant to be was decided by a man, and that's what the male gaze is like. It's still relevant in today's society because it's been thousands and thousands and thousands of years that's been the reality. We're only just now like really starting to break through that, so we still have a lot of that living trauma, you know? So call back for later, just because you mentioned that, like, you literally described what the male gaze was.
That's what it is. I did ask, because you mentioned the male gaze, and I was like, what is that? Actually, don't tell me until we're recording. I don't want to know yet. So I'm really glad that was...
Yeah, then you literally described it.
Yeah, I already knew what that was.
Exactly. So yeah, what it means to be a woman, I guess to bring things together, as far as, like, we've talked about the past of women, the present, obviously we're in an in-between space. You know what I'm saying? We're in an in-between space where we are still not able to fully break free into what it means to be a woman outside of the perspective of a man, because that still very much informs our society and our sexualities and so many things about us. Read the Am I a Lesbian docs, guys. Please. Like, even if you don't think you're a lesbian, and even if you're not a lesbian at all, it's just, like, important to read about compulsory heterosexuality and all those things, because it does inform so much of how we live. And so I think we're in a very cool in-between time where it's, like, very awesome to be alive as a woman right now, and I'm very grateful for all of the women that have come before us and all the women that are continuing to pave the way to this day.
So for what is being a woman to you personally? Like, not being a woman, like, not women, like woman.
Being a woman to me is, like I said, being powerful in a way that doesn't rely on the powerlessness of others. That's what it really means to me. Like,
so to be a woman is to be a leader? The
true meaning of power. To be a woman is to be a leader and a creator. The fact that you don't have to be a mother to be proud of the fact that you could literally grow an entire human inside of your body.
Yeah.
And then we say, like, God is a man. You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of funny because I'm like, a man never created life inside of his body.
Right.
So I just personally believe that we are, like, miraculous fucking creatures. So to be a creator, to be a leader, to be powerful, and not in the traditional sense of the word power, where you wince and think, oh, it's like, no, like, power of which is love, you know?
Yeah. I think being a woman to me, I struggle with my femininity. We talk about this all the time. I just have always had to, I grew up around all brothers, so I've always had to be, and I have an older sister, but I've always had to be kind of like my mom's right-hand man. And I love my mother. That is, like, she's literally my best friend. I call her for everything. I stub my toe, I'm calling my mom. Okay. But I've always struggled with, like, being super feminine because I kind of always was forced to be in a decisive, I mean, not saying that women are not decisive, but, like,
just, like,
it just
more
didn't,
masculine role.
Just a more masculine role. I've had to. It made sense. It was natural. When I'm growing up around all brothers, that's how it goes. I've always wanted a sister. My mom has told me that too multiple times. But to me, being a woman is, like, when I feel the most woman, I guess, is when I'm nurturing. So when I'm, like, taking care of someone, and when I'm
to nurture talent.
Yeah, I love to nurture talent. Exactly. Like, when I'm taking care of things or people, like I'm making dinner or something. And that's not because it's like, go make me a sandwich. It's like, I'm so excited that I can feed the people in my life. Like, even I always say to my friends too, like, if I'm eating, we all eat. Like, that's just how it is. If I don't have enough money to like eat with everyone, then I'll wait to eat till I'm alone. And like, that's just that's when I feel like a woman, is when I can take care of the people around me and when I sparkle. Like, I love when I can get dressed up and be girly and cutie, but I also love wearing my baggy clothes and feel like I'm a streetwear bad bitch. Like, you know, like, and I think the friends that I have made so far in Denver have really got me more comfortable with dressing myself and like feeling feminine in my body as well, just through what I'm wearing, even like through styling things. And now I also have styling clients, which is like so cool to me, because I never saw myself being in that kind of position, or like throwing fashion shows. I never in a million years would have thought that I was doing that, because I've always just hosted concerts. So I think for me, it's definitely like nurturing and sparkling.
Yeah.
I think that's what makes me feel like a woman.
Yeah.
More than anything. In my present.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I think like taking that into the future is really just like us really identifying what makes us each individually feel feminine and feel like a woman, because it could be different for everybody, you know, like it's different for you and me, it's different for every woman, but like how do we each tap into that outside of what's been informed by a man?
Well, and I never would have been where I am today with my journey of feeling more feminine if it wasn't for stepping outside of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
So for anyone that feels like they're like missing a piece of themselves, but they're not really sure where to find it, just go try new things.
Totally.
Go, you know, what I did was walk down a runway. I have never walked down a runway in my life, but that's what I tried. And now, a year and a half later, I'm a whole different person than I was then.
Yep.
I'm so much more confident. Literally, I'm so much more. And that's not everybody's solution, you know.
Yeah.
There was also a book that I read called Untamed by Glennon Doyle. And it talks about how, like, the very beginning of the book talks about how there's a cheetah in a cage. And it's just like has this longing in its eye to escape. And that's how she was feeling about her life. She was married at the time, and she was on tour for her book. And I'm definitely going to get into a little bit of ramble, but it's worth it. If you have never read the book Untamed, read it. And she was married at the time. She found out, or like her and her husband were going to go through a divorce. I think he cheated on her or something. And at one of the conferences, she was speaking, and this woman walks in, and she was like, that's her, period. She has never explored her sexuality before. She has multiple kids. She struggled with addiction throughout her life because she always felt like something was missing. And then once she decided to like choose herself, it completely like shifted her entire life and her whole gear and her whole point of view on even being a woman, because she fell in love with this woman in the room she had never expected to even.
She wouldn't have been there if she didn't connect with herself or put herself first.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I think that's really like a good place to start. However it looks for you, just connecting with yourself, because there's no hate to y'all, but the serial daters, girl.
Serial daters.
Serial daters. I feel like there's a lot of women.
The side eye is crazy.
Okay, no shade. No shade.
Keep going.
No shade, but damn, y'all. Like, it's important to really just connect with yourself and not find your worth externally, which is why I decided to like be intentionally single all year, because I feel like that's so important. Even though I'm not somebody who's like constantly looking for a relationship, I usually will go along with it if it comes along, and just like making that decision to like, no, I'm going to be with myself and not just like jump on any feelings that I have for somebody or whatever, because I need to like get to a good place with myself. I feel like that's helped me tap in with my femininity because, girl, I was stretching my hips like 5 months ago, and I literally was like, people say you hold trauma in your hips. I was like, ha ha ha. I was stretching the fuck out of my hips, and girl, I started crying, and I was like, I've never felt feminine enough.
It just poured out of you.
It did. It was all in the hips, all that lack of unleashed femininity, and I was like, dang. So now, ever since then, I've been really like discovering what it is, trying to put myself first. Like, where's my femininity? Let me look for her because she's so powerful. Then the more I find, the more I'm like, damn.
You're like, I'm so
yeah.
I'm so feminine.
Exactly. I'm so feminine. Yeah. You know, we talked about being a creator, being a leader, being a nurturer.
I think too, like with all of it, I always like to say, like, tap in with your mind, your body, and your earth. Like, you have 3 homes, and all 3 of them are really important. So I would definitely say to be a woman is also to be in tune with your 3 homes.
Like the balance between femininity and masculinity as well. Like, we all have both sides. You know what I'm saying? It's a spectrum. And, you know, I think that Native people are like so tapped in, have been always, and they have always been of the mindset that everybody possesses feminine and masculine energy, and that goes back thousands and thousands of years with those beliefs. Mm-hmm. So I really believe in that, and I think that it's always about finding a good balance. Like, what does masculinity really mean to you? What does femininity really mean to you? And how do you balance those things? Because I think, you know, like, especially, like, getting on the internet and, like, me being on, like, spiritual TikTok, girl, sometimes, like, it can get a little bit toxic, and, like, they'll tell you, oh, you need to be in your feminine energy and be in a state of receiving, and then it's, like, at a certain point, it's, like, but when do I do the things? When do I make the shit happen? When do I build the house? Right. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I also think it's important, too, to not always force yourself to sit in your feelings. Like, it's okay to just, like... it's okay to just, like, be, you know? Just, like, go with the flow. And, like, I think that is something I'm trying really hard to practice right now, is, like... So I've been having nightmares about a whole bunch of different stuff, and I'm trying to figure out, like, where are these coming from, and I'm realizing it's just from suppressing things that I don't want to deal with. Mm-hmm. But when I do, whether it's me journaling them, or if it's me having a nice cry, or me going and laying in grass or in snow or whatever it may be, just, like, letting myself be whatever it may be is also been really prominent lately.
Absolutely, because I think it's hard when you haven't been taught to, like, deal with your emotions,
right?
Or, like, when you're learning to, like, reparent yourself and help yourself work through difficult things. Like, emotions can be really scary. Like, sometimes I'm afraid, like, if I just let myself feel it, like, what if it takes me over and drowns me and I never recover?
Right.
You know? But then
I go into psychosis. I'm going. I literally, there's reasons I won't try certain drugs because I'm too scared to lose my mind for that long.
Totally.
I'm too scared.
Totally.
I'm like, where will my mind go?
Yeah.
Like, I think I promise everybody I am more scared of my mind than you are.
I don't know about that. I'm a little bit scared, but it's valid.
Oh, I mean, like, I'm scared of my mind.
Oh, more than they're scared of
my mind. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm very okay though. That was a weird thing to say.
It's okay. It's all good. It's important for us to, like, learn that it's okay to handle our emotions and learn how to let those things happen when they happen and not push it away. Like, that's such a important thing to learn, because then it's like when you do end up feeling the emotion, and it can be just released into the abyss and not be stored inside of your little body.
Right.
like, then all of a sudden you feel 1,000,000 pounds lighter.
And that's just like human.
Yeah.
That's not even about being a woman or a man. That's just, we're human out here.
That's just being human.
Yeah.
We all need to fucking deal with our emotions.
So feel your shit.
Feel that shit.
If you also sometimes don't want to analyze all your thoughts, just don't.
Yeah, I think
It's okay too.
I struggled with intellectualizing my feelings a lot. So if you haven't heard of that,
We all do it.
We all do it. But yeah,
being a daughter and a sister and a friend and the role you play in other people's lives as a woman.
Yeah.
What do you have to say about that, or do you want me to go first?
You can go first.
I think being a sister is probably the one that stands out to me the most.
Mm-hmm.
Just because those are, and being a daughter, like being a woman in a sense of family. Family. Let's do an episode about family too.
We're really gonna get into it.
So family, I think automatically you have like a preset of settings, not like in your notches are turned to where they should be, knowing you're a sister and you're a daughter and a granddaughter and a, you know, cousin and a niece, all of the things.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be a lot of pressure for everyone, I think. Like, it doesn't matter if you're at the top of the top or at the lowest of the lows. Like, I think being a family member as a woman is a lot of pressure because you have to make sure that you're, in my experience, taking care of those around you, but also being taken care of and having the space to be taken care of while also being mindful that, like, this is everybody's first time doing it.
Yeah.
You know? So I think for me, being a sister is really important to me because of all of those things. I think being a sister has been what's taught me the most about life and how to, because I have younger siblings and I've always just wanted to make sure that they were good. Like I will send my brother $50 to get his haircut before I go get groceries. And that can be a toxic relationship to have with yourself personally. Like I think I have been trying to like figure out where to balance.
Yeah, not like overextend yourself.
Yeah, not overextend myself, or even being a daughter, like there comes a point in time where you also have to have boundaries.
Like, what should I take care of and what should I not?
Right, like what's not my job.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's something that I really struggle with, is trying to like juggle too many things for the people that I love, that are my family members, but also letting them take care of me, I think has been a really beautiful journey of like allowing my mom to call me when I'm having a bad day instead of shutting her out, or you know. So I think in conclusion of that part, I would say being a daughter. I'm not a mother. I used to be, of cats.
I used to be. I killed them.
No, they're just gone now.
Just kidding.
But yeah, I think just balancing, having boundaries with family members especially, and being able to just meet them where they're at, because you can't expect someone to be more or less than what they are. Mm-hmm. And I think that goes for everything.
I want to go into your relationship with female friendships, but
awesome.
I'm going to talk about my perspective on this first.
Okay.
So I think as far as, being a daughter and being a sister to me, I have an older brother and I'm a daughter to my mother specifically. My father's not really involved in my life, so I feel like one of the things that puts so much pressure on being a family member as a woman is like the emotional maturity and what you take on from a young age because you're feeling everything that's going on, especially in a dysfunctional household, and it's easy to take on the role of like wanting to fix things or feeling like you're the glue that is supposed to hold everybody together. And I feel like I took on the role of like trying to save everybody, trying to save my family, trying to save my brother, like lots of mental health things going on, and just like I feel like my relationship with my brother got to the point where like for a long time I only felt like a valid human so long as he was okay, and like, you know what I'm saying? And
Totally.
like with my mom, like our relationship hasn't always been easy, but like we've worked towards so many things. So I think like having that deep relationship between two women is very like, it can be very healing, also very emotionally taxing because we're both very emotional people, and we like
You and your mom, or you and me?
me and my mom,
Mm-hmm.
but like us too, you know?
Yeah.
Like any relationship with a woman is gonna be very rewarding, but also very, very, there's emotional labor that goes into it, but it's usually more rewarding than emotional labor with a man. I will say that. So I think that like even though you have to really get into the grit of it and really like discover a lot about yourself, it's like it's been rewarding. So getting closer with my mom, I'm really appreciative of that. I also feel like there's a difference between friendship and sisterhood with my friends. There's like friends of mine that feel like I've never had a sister, and I feel like I know what sisterhood is now because of certain friends of mine that I've gotten really close with. Like I feel like there's a specific kind of bond that you can create with a woman that is just like so healing and so just beautiful. It feels like every time I'm together with Yana or Cheyenne or you, like it feels like flower petals just blossoming and just like, you know, like I just feel like I'm like walking through like,
I can see it.
yes,
I can see when you see it.
I know you can. Like I feel like I'm walking in rays of sunshine, like skipping and holding hands. You know what I'm saying? Like it just feels so healing. It connects me to all these different parts of myself. Like it's fucking magical being in a sisterhood with another woman. But as a friend to women, I will always be a friend to women, no matter what woman it is. Even if I don't, I think being a friend means that you hold people accountable. So even if I don't agree with every woman, I will always like be a supportive woman. I haven't always been that way. I definitely had my pick me era, as I think most of us did. But I think like now I'm just realizing how important it is for us to be in this together, and to just really like support each other and hold each other's hands through this, and not let society continue to pit us against each other, and not be trying to steal each other's men and like trying to like just be weird, you know? Like I think that we need
Just
to,
don't be weird.
yeah.
It's not hard to not be weird, y'all.
No, we just
I'm
need
just
to
saying.
rebuild our trust with each other as women, and that starts with me. That starts with me being a good friend to all women. So to me, there's a difference between sisterhood with women and friendship with women. I'm a friend to all women, every single one.
Yeah, I struggle with women friendships. We've talked about that before too. I've had a few friends in my life that just taught me a lot about trust and relying on them. I've had women in my life that I've called my forever family, my chosen family, you know, that have broke my heart worse than a man ever could. And so I definitely I'm hesitant to open up to women. And as quick as I can, if the vibe is off, I'm very quick to just be like, okay, like my hands are up. I'm going to let you show your colors, and I'm just going to, you know. But with a couple of friends of mine, I've just turned internally. I've been like, well, what did I do wrong? Like, what could I have done better? How could I have been a better friend? And that's also a big part of growing up, you know? I mean, a lot of these friends were through high school and through college. And looking back on it, I mean, they all were with men that I was with at one point. So it's like, I'm sure that I had a little bit of,
Resentment?
yeah, thank you, resentment toward them. And that maybe has tainted my, like, view on friendships. But, like, my friend Brianna and I, she's just changed my perspective a lot on being friends with girls, because I met her just really randomly, and we just like built a really I've learned a lot about communication from her, and just how, and I'm learning that a lot through you too, just how, like, if you disagree about something, that doesn't need to be like a big blowout thing. Like, it can be just a conversation, like, hey, I don't appreciate how you made me feel, and now I'm not as like quick to get scared and kind of like put my tail in or go into my shell.
Yeah.
But that's still a process.
I think that that's probably why a lot of women struggle with relationships with other women, because we live in a society. We live in a society. I know. I'm going to say that a lot, guys. But we do live in a society.
Put it on a t-shirt.
Literally.
Put it on a t-shirt.
Where, like, we have not been taught to be open about our emotions. So the fact that women are naturally more emotional creatures.
And they're always.
Yes.
It's always.
Like, when you don't know how to communicate how you feel, it gets catty and it gets petty and it gets passive aggressive. And, like, there's a lot of emotional labor, like I said, that comes with being in a relationship with a woman. And I know a lot of bisexual women who will be like, I can't, like, I tried dating women and I can't do it. It's just too much emotional labor. And I'm like, that's understandable.
But that's, like, on you.
But that is on you. Like, you need, we all can be better about communicating. If somebody can't match your level of communication, that's when you can wipe your hands. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And just leave that. But, like, two women who are able to navigate those deep emotions together, that's probably what makes it so
that's
healing
the magic
and so magical.
That's the magic.
That's the magic, because that's literally,
put that on a t-shirt too.
Literally, that's the fucking magic, because that is literally a straight protest in itself.
Yeah.
That's literally a protest.
Yeah. Well, and I think that also, like you said, you're always a friend to a woman, right? I think that speaks a lot to that, is that you are able to communicate with women in a way. What taught you that? Where did you get this?
With my mom. My mom has been willing to do that, both of us. I grew up with my dad telling me that my mom hated me. And she never said that. But
But still sticks.
he's like psychologically kind of fucked up and like wanted our relationship not to work out between me and my mom, because there was like a time in my life when he was like, well, after you turn a certain age, like, you're supposed to have a good relationship with your dad, not your mom anymore. And it was like he did that out of like feeling guilty for not being there during my childhood. So he like wanted to pit me against my mom. She just wasn't like fitting into his box of what he wanted her to be anymore. So he was like very much demonizing her and would make up all these crazy lies about her and just pit me against her. He would just like tell me things about her that weren't true and made me literally hate her and made me believe that she hated me as well. So our relationship it was struggling so bad, and she didn't understand why, because she didn't know that this was going on, and she still has a hard time like even dealing with the fact that happened today. But like after I realized that he was lying, because basically they were fighting about something and he was like, she sent me this nasty email, and so I went downstairs and I was like, Mom, why would you send him that email? Like, can we just fucking get along? And she showed me the email and she was literally being so fucking nice. And none of the shit that he said that she said was, like, actually in the email. So I was like, oh. And then I, like, had a flashback to all the things, and I was like, he's lied about everything. And so ever since then, her and I have been trying to work on a relationship. And from that place of years thinking that she hated me and me hating her to, like, where we are now, where we're literally friends, has taken so much work that, like, we've both learned so much about ourselves and about how to communicate with other people and how to express ourselves. It's been so difficult, but it's been so worth it. It's grown me a lot as a person.
I've been there. My mom and I didn't talk for a long time. My mom, she was fully responsible, though. It wasn't anybody else. She went through a bad divorce. My mom and I grew up together. She had me at a young age. It's just how it goes. I honestly get scared to even talk about stuff like this because I don't want to hurt her when she hears it. But it's like, I also am working on not putting myself in a box. So, yeah, I mean, that makes sense. My mom and I still are learning communication much better, but I would say we definitely have a really good, like, relationship now.
Come a long way from
Yeah, and that probably is a big reason also why I've grown too in that same aspect of just being able to communicate, because now I told my mom and I have boundaries now, because I'm like, Mom, I need to hang up right now and I will talk to you later if we're, like, on the phone or something. But this is the longest I've ever been without seeing my mother, and I miss her a lot. And back in 10, that's so crazy, 10 years ago, it was not the same way.
Yeah.
It was, I don't
fuck with her.
I do not fuck with her. None of my friends fucked with her. None of it. But yeah, I would say definitely she's taught me a lot about how to be and how to be strong. My mom has taught me a lot about how to be strong, but sometimes I think it's time for me to be soft. I think I'm ready to be soft. I've been strong long enough.
Yeah, and in that regard, like, being soft requires safety.
100%.
Like, we
so how do I feel safe when my friends that I thought were my best friends are gone now? They've literally just, like, completely up in the air, and it's happened my whole life. So I was like, this is me. It's on me. It's my fault. But it's always a team effort.
It is, yeah. There's always, like, multiple sides to everything. Like, there's always fault on both sides. Like, if you're in any kind of relationship ever ended in your life and you think it was just the other person's fault,
Something's
they might
up.
have done more to hurt you, but, like, nah. We all contribute to dynamics that cause relationships to fail.
3 sides. The truth, your side, and my side.
Yep. Exactly. And truth is always a mix of both. So, yeah, I think it's important to recognize, like, what good friendship is. And, like, sometimes it's hard to know what it is if you haven't experienced it. Like,
totally.
I had a lot of really surface level fake friends that, like, used me, and, like, I didn't even know. Like, I had no idea until I became friends with my friend Cheyenne, like, 3 years ago. And literally we had one night where, like, everybody was just doing me really dirty, like, everybody in my life, like, literally all of them. This is kind of what you're going through right now. And, we were just sitting there, and same thing with her. Like, she was going through a breakup. Everybody was taking her ex aside. He was not treating her well. Like, he was lying about things, and everybody just automatically took his side. And, like, she was going through so much. She was losing all of her friends, the entire life that she knew. So was I. And we just had a night where we just sat there and talked about it, and we realized on that very day, both of us simultaneously, this is what friendship is. Like, we looked at each other and we were like, you're my first friend.
Yeah.
And, like, and then literally the next day, both of us cut off every single other person in our lives.
It's scary.
It's super scary.
It's really scary. It's really scary to find friends that feel like home. Because when you don't really know home well,
you can project that onto people that aren't actually home.
Exactly.
And then you feel like I lost what I thought was home, but that's because you wouldn't lose it if it was actually home.
Right.
You know? So I think it's important to recognize, like, when things don't work out, like, you got to take the lesson and keep on moving, because that wasn't what was meant for you. Like, when it's really, really home, they wouldn't hurt you like that. You know what I'm saying? Or, like, you wouldn't hurt them like that. Or,
Either
like,
way, yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Or, like, whatever. Like, there's so many.
And that's the thing, too, is you hear people say all of the time, being friends with girls is so hard. You hear guys say it, you hear girls say it. In general, like, being friends with women is so difficult. And it's starting to seem to me that it doesn't have to be so difficult if you're friends with the right people.
Exactly.
Like, I think.
If it's difficult, it's probably the wrong people, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, I think, like, being soft is to be safe and to know that it's okay to be safe. And when friendships fall out of your life, make room for better. And, like, also,
I want to add that to my feminine definition.
Yeah.
Being soft.
Being soft and
Yeah.
being safe. Yeah. Yeah.
And also what?
Which is why I want to create safe spaces for women as well.
Yeah.
Because I think, like, having the right women around and, like, women being able to actually support women, no funny shit, no weird shit, like, that is so important for us to grow into our power and to do the things that we're here to do and that we're meant to do and that we're able to do because of the women that came before. So
Totally.
that's a pivotal part in us taking advantage of the privileges that we have nowadays. So yeah,
Leading.
yeah, and I think, like, being a good friend, like, we talked about how to be, like, supportive and, like, what feels like being a good supportive friend, and I feel like that's really just what it is, like, being a safe space and, like, just allowing you to feel your emotions and letting you know you don't have to do that alone. Like,
Yeah, that part has been, I've just never felt so able to be ugly. Like, I don't have to be so put together right now with the friendships. Like, you and Brie make me feel like it's okay that, like, I'm going through a change in my life, and, like, here we are. So if you can take anything from this entire episode, from me personally, this is Jazzy motherfucking P, by the way.
Casey can't differentiate
If you can take anything from this episode, from me personally, I would say find women in your life that make you feel, that give you permission to be beautifully chaotic and human, and be happy on your happy days and be sad on your bad days. And sometimes if you're sad on your happy days, that's okay too.
Yeah, because it's like I said to you when you were feeling, like, guilty about just feeling your raw, real emotions. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
you doing that gives me permission to do the same.
Right.
You know? Like, if you always act like you're put together, I'm going to be sitting here thinking, like, damn, I wish I was always put together like her. Like, she must not be going through anything, like, terrible.
Yeah.
Like, there must be something wrong with me. But, like, we can hold each other's hand in this collective experience when we let ourselves feel things and tell our friends about that, because then I have permission to feel that way, you have permission to feel that way. And honestly, we gotta stop with the whole narrative of, like, it's a burden and I need to protect my peace. Like, it's a burden to, like, be a good friend to somebody and to be there for somebody, and I need to protect my peace. You can protect your peace and still be a good friend. Like, I could do a whole fucking episode on this whole isolation, you need to protect your peace. I feel like that's a bunch of fucking bullshit. Community is always going to be the answer. And when I can't carry myself, I need other people to carry me, and I'll carry you when you can't carry yourself. You know, that's how we get through it. Not in isolation.
I wish you guys could hear how fast my heart's beating because that's so scary. But I'm going to do it. Okay? This is what I mean when I say we're learning, okay? We, as in me, particularly in this exact second. But yeah. So let's talk a little bit about being a woman in the industry then.
Yeah.
So we've talked about friends, you know, daughter, sister,
All the same stuff applies to being a lover.
past, all of the same stuff. Being a lover, ugh, I can't get into that.
We're running out of time.
You know what I told Brooklyn the other day? I said, Brooklyn, I think I'm just going to be the aunt. She said, she said, you're a lover, girl. No, you're not. And I was like,
I'm going to be the single heir. I was like, girl, that's fucking hilarious.
yeah, well, I do love. I love to love.
Oh, but I
also hate to love.
I feel like it's quite the experience. It's quite a dynamic experience.
Yeah. Okay.
But I do want to say real quick to all the women out there, being a lover, especially in a heterosexual relationship, does not mean being a mother. You are not here to be a grown man's mother. That's all I had to say on that.
Yeah.
Just let that one sink in. But let's see. What were you talking about?
The entertainment industry or being a lover? Which one?
The entertainment industry.
Okay, so yeah, we covered some stuff about roles that we play in other people's lives, roles that other people play in our lives as women. I'm so excited to talk about this. So let's dive in.
Just fucking dive in.
Being a woman in the entertainment industry. What a industry!
What an industry!
What a time to be alive!
So many fucking power dynamics at play. That's really like the real tea on that.
Yeah.
Like if you haven't, like if you're thinking about being a woman in the creative industry, or if you're already in the creative industry, I'm sure you've experienced it. Like I swear to God, I have not talked to a single woman in the creative industry that has not been preyed upon by a man in the creative industry. I haven't met a single
or
one.
have been too nervous to speak up about it.
Yep.
Yeah. It's crazy because it's like there is a dynamic that is built from things like that then sucks every ounce of creativity out of a project that you could have been working on with that person. Whether honestly, whether it's a male or a female preying on you. Mm-hmm. The creativity that you would have made when it's not at all about what the woman can do for the other person involved, it just takes away it takes a whole level of, it's like taking a piece of the cake from a cake.
Yeah, totally. I mean,
you know what I'm saying? And then presenting it like
yes, like putting it in real world terms.
Yeah, please help.
I would say that like what we're trying to get at is that basically what you need to watch out for is the fact that you, as a creative woman in a male dominated industry, are probably going to be in rooms where you're going to have to work with men. One thing to watch out for would be like people offering you discounted rates, like because of your talent or like things like that. You know, like people offering you things, like men specifically offering you things creatively, like, oh, I'll do this for you, I'll produce this for you or whatever. A lot of times, even if they're not offering you any sort of like discount or like anything for free, like a lot of times power plays come into play.
Totally.
And like,
well, do you remember that one time I did that one thing for you because I was doing you a favor?
Yeah. Like, men in the industry a lot of times gain this entitlement over your talent and over your body because of what you guys have created together. You can put in your money, you can put in your time and your effort, and it can all amount to nothing because the dynamic shifts over time. So it's just something to be aware of, because there's been men that I've worked with for months and months and months. Then they get a little bit drunk and I see them out and their hand's a little bit too low. You know what I'm saying? Or like...
Or the session's over and then you're on your way, and it's just like saying things like, do you want to cuddle or do you want to go on a date? It just feels disrespectful.
It's a blatant disrespect to your creativity as a woman, and it's like when they make things romantic, it's like, you don't respect my creativity, because like if you did, you would make this about us working together.
Well, and even beyond that, if this was not about our creativity, it's not, there's no question if I'm flirting with you. Like when I'm flirting with someone, it's very obvious.
Yeah.
And I'm very upfront about that, because that's like, I love to be, like I said earlier, I love to be in charge. So like I love when I'm like, oh, hey, if I'm not flirting with you or like complimenting you heavily on how you look or whatever it may be,
yeah,
I'm not mixing business and pleasure.
Yeah, no.
I've done that, and I,
not interested.
Came out the other side better and no longer in that realm. And just because I'm looking at you a certain way that you want to like create a definition of that in your own head, that's on you.
Right.
To figure out.
Just because I'm pretty and talking doesn't mean that I am in love with you.
Because I'm pretty and talking has nothing to do with anything.
No.
Like, I sometimes wonder what it would be like if I looked different and how receptive people would be of things.
And really, like in any workplace, things like that are going to happen. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like, especially in the music industry, like it's just important to be careful. And that's why, we want to create spaces for women to be able to express themselves, like spaces for just women, because there's already a lot of spaces for just men, because that's just how it is. So like, I think it's important when thinking about like, how do we create a new system? I used to think like, I need to work from the inside. Like I need to like become inside of the music industry in order to change and reform it. But I'm realizing that like that work is better done on the outside, creating a completely new system on the outside that like creates a safe space for women. So yeah, I'm sure we'll get into more on that and just like tips and tricks and things to look out for.
Just things we've noticed and things that we've experienced personally, and in that regard, we'll definitely have to dive deeper into at some point. But I think, just for now, keeping your eyes peeled on when something doesn't feel right and your body is telling you that it's not right, listen to it.
Yeah. And don't just like work with somebody just because you feel like that's your only option.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And don't be scared to stand up for yourself.
Yeah.
In any regard. And I think that's something that I've definitely felt has gotten me further, is when I do stand up for myself, I feel like I've honored my creativity. And so now I feel like I've unlocked levels of parts of myself that would have never been there before if I would have still stayed quiet. And I understand there's trauma behind staying quiet too sometimes. But if you're going into a situation and your body is telling you that this might be not for the right reasons, chances are your body is correct.
Yeah.
And if it's incorrect, then you'll figure that out. But it takes practice. It really takes practice.
Yeah, and I feel like it's important not to, like, when it comes to, like, what does it mean to be a woman in the creative industry, I think it's important to, like you said, like, when you stand up for yourself, you are able to keep hold on your creative energy, and that's very precious. So, like, especially when dealing with men, or even just, like, women who are jealous of you or whatever, because I've experienced that too, like women trying to bring me down or like compare my voice to theirs or whatever. I feel like it's just important to be in your own energy, recognize what you have to offer is unique. It doesn't need to look like anybody else's. And also just that like people have a tendency to want to capture the sun and make it shine only for them. So if you have some light, a lot of people are going to want to capture that and steal it and take it for their benefit. But I think it's really important just to like really hold on to your creative energy and spend that with people who are like going to multiply it and not want to take it or steal from it, so that you don't end up feeling depleted at the end of the day. And like, yeah, just like really owning who you are as a creative and your artistry, and like knowing the value of that, the inherent value of that, and not letting that be defined by anybody else, taken by anybody else, or like just any of that. Like it's all has to do with you.
And it's a privilege to learn the process of that. Like, it's a privilege to fail. And, you know, you have to remember to just be patient with yourself, especially when you're a creator. You have to be patient with yourself, and you have to be patient with the people that you do create around, because if you grab at the first opportunity every single time, it will put you in positions that you shouldn't have been in the first place. But maybe you were chasing the money, or you were chasing the reputation, or you were chasing something. I'm guilty of this. There's been shows that I've done that I wasn't proud of at the end of, and I was like, well, what is the root of that? And it was a lot of, I mean, the opportunity was in front of me, so why would I say no? And I think in those moments I wasn't honoring my creativity. So,
or valuing yourself.
Right, exactly. So I think personally, to like just be patient. I think being patient with everything is so important, because life is a long game.
Yeah.
Longevity is everything, especially in the entertainment industry. Like these
as long as you keep
overnights.
at it and you're consistent.
These overnight stories are few and far and rare between, and we don't see the time spent in the basement.
Literally, like fucking Victoria Monet, before she finally got the recognition that she's getting now, has literally been in the music industry writing her own songs and writing for other people and touring with other people for literally like over 10 years, I'm pretty sure.
Right.
So like it takes time, it takes consistent effort. Like just go along with the journey. And also if you aren't experiencing the right kind of opportunities, if you're not seeing the things in front of you that you envision for yourself being made by other people, create your own opportunities.
Go to a new room.
Exactly.
If you don't feel comfortable in the room you're in, find a new room.
Exactly. And even if it takes some time, like there's been times where like I haven't had the right people to work with, and then I just like was at home and expressing myself creatively how I could, writing to YouTube beats or whatever. And then you will end up finding people and being aligned with people, like going out, meeting people, networking. We're going to talk more about that too. But like network is your net worth. Like you literally just have to go out and just talk to people. And whoever, like you don't have to talk to everybody, but like who you feel aligned to, go talk to them. You know?
And you'll find your sound that way. I think that's definitely something for me personally. Like, I've found my sound so much more purely, just by putting myself in rooms where I don't feel like I have to present one way or the other.
Yeah. To wrap things up a little bit, we wanted to talk about expressing your femininity, and just kind of like, what does it mean to express your femininity? And we've touched on this a little bit already, but like society puts a lot of pressure on us to that femininity is about your appearance, femininity is about being submissive and being quiet. But like we said, like those are all male informed narratives. So what does it really mean to express your femininity, and like debunking those things being the most important? Like expressing your style, you talked about like
Sparkly.
feeling more feminine just by sparkling, just by letting yourself shine and be seen, and like wearing different clothes, and like you can still wear masculine clothing and feel feminine, but like everybody expresses their femininity and their style in different ways, like and then like releasing yourself from the male gaze, like not dressing or acting the way that you do to please a man.
Yeah, or anyone. Like, that's kind of what I mean by stand up for yourself, too.
Mm-hmm.
Stand up for your style. Stand up for your voice. Your voice is so important. And if there are people that are telling you that your voice is not important, you need new conversations.
Mm-hmm. New people. Even if they're not even directly saying that, but they make you feel that way.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
Mm-hmm. Crazy.
But
so many layers to it.
yeah. So sparkle or don't. Whatever you feel comfortable.
Whatever makes you feel like you are sparkling within, whether that's external, internal, whatever.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, I think
to wrap up, we just want to say thank you for listening.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. These will be continuously coming out.
Mondays, 5 a.m.
Mondays at 5 a.m.
That's what we're kind of hoping for right now, but we'll keep you posted if that changes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're along with us in this learning journey of all of the things creative, all of the things feminine, bringing women together and supporting other women in their journeys along the way as well. So
yeah, we'll probably have some other guests on.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be talking about events in Denver that are run by women to support, to go to.
Mm-hmm. Some women-owned businesses. We'll give you updates on our shows, when those are, and how to get involved in the future as well.
Yeah.
So stay tuned. We have so much to share. And
yeah.
Thanks, y'all. Thank you, guys, and happy Women History Month.
Yes.
This is the Studio Girls.
This is the fucking Studio Girls.
Peace and blessings. Love.
Bye.
Oh no, this is the Studio Girls. We gon' come through and we'll rock the whole world. Keep it independent so you hear my own words. Got my own word. You can be sure of the studio.